All right, let's go over the Blue Ridge Mountain Championship on the FPO side, because it wasn't necessarily the best event, but it was certainly interesting, and there was a lot of ingenuity in course design that I really am excited to see for the rest of the tour. So actually this was the first, I would say, course purely designed for FPO besides Throw Pink. And I think once you get to see what courses look like when they are designed with FPO in mind, with the right distances and not just attaching another stroke to a hole, you get to see a lot more interesting courses and a lot more interesting birdie looks, putts, the whole gambit, because you get so much more opportunities for the players to flex what they do best. Because a lot of people may think that a 930 rated FPO player is the same as a 930 rated MPO player, and there are a lot of differences. Obviously you have distance, but there's also so many more shots that a 930 rated FPO player has in their tool bag that they don't really flex because the courses just don't really ask for it. So having this particular lineup really made it a fun viewing experience, and you could say that the OBs were a little bit ridiculous. And as a viewer, I couldn't tell you which one was OB, which one was hazard, which line was even OB. Like there was a sand pit that was inbounds, but everything else was out of bounds. It was really cool to see, but man, if you don't know what the courses are, it is really tough to manage as a viewer. All right, so as far as players, there really wasn't too much interesting things that happened. And then the category of players that didn't actually do that good, but looked great, Hannah Blumroos is really showing up. She has amazing distance, definitely not performing that great with her putting percentages being pretty meh, but she threw with so much distance and conviction that it really stood out to me. I could see her playing very well in the Champions Cup. And in the same regard, I thought Evelina looked pretty good. There's a lot of room to grow in the category that I'm sure you know about, putting. And then looking at the top contenders, Ella Hansen looked pretty good, but just didn't quite finish with a triple on hole 16. But I gotta say that her game is still going strong. She was not just one and done at Waco. She has really proven herself to be a competent player through and through. And especially on a technical course like this, I am really glad to see that her game is not just distance. And then Jessica Weiss and Emily Beach kind of hit that category where they had a lot of great shots, just didn't really get it all together. Really impressed by their performances, and I'm interested to see how they do in the major. But then we have the top 3/4 because the players in third tied for third. We have Owen, Hannah Wynn, Sarah Hokom, and Kristin. So I gotta say, watching Owen, I am just so perplexed by how she is not able to take down a win yet. She is throwing so confidently. She does seem to lean a bit too much on the overstable forehand flex play, and I think that is to her detriment. She really needs to develop a backhand with distance to get anywhere close to first place, I would say. But you cannot hate the game that she has at the moment. She just makes every single circle 2 putt. I was trying to putt today, and every single putt just looked like danger. So having the ability to make a 60-foot putt look like it's nothing is a skill I desperately want to have. Own, you rock. And if she just cleans it up a little bit, then I could definitely see her on the podium this week. Then out of nowhere, at least for me, Hannah Wynn played lights out on the lead card with only one bogey in the entire round, finishing her round with 6 under, 1 stroke better than Kristin. And I could definitely tell that her confidence levels were through the roof, which is pretty tough because you have so many people watching you, so many eyes on you. And at first, when I was watching her, I thought it was like, oh, she's probably like a native here. But no, she's on tour. She was from Washington, definitely not from North Carolina. And her best finish before this was a 15th at Texas State. So she's really climbing up the ranks, and her rating is booming. And so I think this improvement is really suited to perform well as we get to the middle of the season. But she could kind of be in the same category as Sayananda, where she has a great finish at a silver event, but just doesn't quite correlate it to the rest of the season in terms of elite series and majors. But we'll just have to see how that turns out. And then you have Sarah Hokom and Kristin Tattar. So Sarah, I would say, really wasn't looking like she was going to be contention that much. Like I think everyone thought Kristin was going to take home the win, including Sarah. Even with that crazy throw in, you just kind of knew that Kristin was going to win. But starting out final round, Sarah picks up a birdie as Kristin gets a double. And at that point, they were within 4 strokes. But with that said, if you have a 4-stroke deficit to Kristin, then you are definitely probably going to lose. But even with that, there was some slight concerns. And seeing Kristin in her post-round interview, she was timid, she was nervous, she was worried about hole 1. So the fact that she did double really proves that this game is so much more mental than you think. Even the best of the best still have stresses and concerns, even when they have a huge lead. So Sarah Hokom played pretty well, but just never really looked like she was going to take home the win. Overall, good event for her, but I really like to see her perform well in an elite series. So then we get to Kristin Tattar, and I kind of joked about it, but I really think I was actually kind of on the money. I think the tournament was over within the first 9 holes of the event. I think Kristin had a couple stroke lead before the early cards even finished, and I think everyone kind of knew that Kristin's momentum is building and building. For whatever reasons, she's had these mental hurdles that she's fighting through, and her putting, upshots, distance, distance. They all just didn't look that phenomenal at the start of the season, but she is ramping up and she is really proving that she is the best FPO player, honestly, to ever exist. I'm going to make that statement. You can at me if you want, but I truly believe that there's nobody better than her. And if she were to win every major this year, I would not be surprised. And you might think with this unique layout at the North Cove boulders that it might create more opportunities for Kristin to choke, but that was the exact opposite of what happened. She threw over the OB so many times, through great distance, and the entire time she just looked so dialed and so focused. She did have a couple of lucky breaks, that's for sure, but overall you just knew that she had confidence in her stroke and she was not going to give up this event. And I know I've said it a million times, but I'm really excited to see how she does next week. And if I had to give odds for Kristin versus the field, I think I'm putting Kristin at like 2-1. She is just so locked in that I am guaranteeing her to take home the first major of the year. So let me know what you guys think. I would love to hear it. Be sure to subscribe for more. Thanks for watching. Wildrun signing out. Peace.